Right, last episode of the series is going to be our Europa League final against Roma. It's going to be a three at the back tactic that we've had different solutions throughout the series, playing it three at the backs. Especially, I spoke extensively about playing against a 3-5-2, but they're going to play a 3-4-2-1 against us, which is going to be a big challenge. It's something that we've not really settled on a good solution for it. Just quickly off camera before I forget, we did win every game off camera in the Premier League. And that left the Premier League looking like this. We finished fourth, so let's think about this and analyse this as an overall result. I was obviously trying to implement a real-life concept into the game and pretty much sticking to that. If I went to just create the most effective tactic roughly in that style, I think I could have won the league this year probably. It would have been close, but I think we would have won it. The success of the concept of the save has been unbelievable. Like I said, because there's probably 2 or 3 things I could have tweaked to make it a more effective tactic, but I didn't do those things in real life, so I didn't want to make those changes just for the sake of it. So considering what the concept of the save was and taking a real life concept that I'd done personally into the game, I don't think we could have done much better with the team that we had at the start of the save. Finishing 4th in the second season on 73 points, I definitely think that if I went about it slightly differently and, like I said, tried to just win the most games, just regardless of sort of the real life stuff, we would have ended up, I think, on about 85 points roughly. Of course, you don't really know. But I tell you what, though, for those of you watching, whenever I used to play FM, I just wanted to have the most success in the save as early as possible. But I felt like that in recent years, it started to get a little like, it started to feel like it wasn't really enough. There's never really been enough of a challenge for me to keep a save interesting over and over again. So the saves where I don't quite have as much success as I could have done because I'm doing a set thing, whether it's Moneyball, whether it's a real life concept like this. I think this gives people, if you're like me and you have the same sort of problem where your success almost ends up making the save less interesting. If you get to that point, I think having little challenges is absolutely great. And it's a single player game, so I think what people get a little caught up in is that you're playing as a team and somebody posts online that you post something or you tell somebody, oh, I managed to win the league with X team in my 3rd season, and somebody else goes, oh yeah, well I did it in 2. You're playing completely different games really. Like you've got like a set of parameters you're sticking to. That person might not. That person might use the in-game editor. You might not. Like, you can't compare yourself to somebody else. So my message to anybody, if you're struggling to like enjoy a save over a long period of time, is just focus on like your save. This won't apply to everybody. Some people are able to do that, but this is more targeted to people that are like me, that have like got through that stage where everything becomes a bit too easy in the save and trying to find ways to keep it interesting. But like before, if I had made that adjustment, whatever it is, to make the save more difficult, and then my success massively tanked because of it, it would sort of like ruin the save for me in a way. Whereas now it doesn't. Like, I'm enjoying these other challenges. It's making it far more interesting for me. So yeah, to round that up, I do think we could have won this league in the second season relatively comfortably, I think, if I would have had a tactic where I was just, had a rough concept of like a Bielsa type tactic and then just played to win every game. I do think we could have done even a lot better. We wouldn't have lost 11 games. Like there was a lot of experimentation with matching up the opposition formations, but that's basically what I started doing in my UEFA B. So, some with really good success, some with less so, and everything's a learning curve when you play. When you're coaching academy football in particular, everything's a learning curve for players and coaches. So, yeah, I mean, just seeing City had 14 draws. That's quite impressive. They lost 3 matches all at home. I don't think I've ever seen that in FM, where a team has lost 3 matches in the Premier League. Sometimes in the Serie A you get this, where so many teams play on, I guess, low mentalities and 5 at the backs that you just get a few extra draws. But I don't think I've seen that in the Premier League before. Palace also got 14 draws and finished in the Europa League. But we are in the Champions League for the 3rd season. I'm not going to do a 3rd season on camera. I don't think. The only way I'll do a 3rd season is if I played it off camera, then I do like a recap video. But anyway, if we had have carried on, this would have been an incredibly good platform to bounce from going into that last 3rd season. But yeah, the games off camera were really good. We won 2-1, 3-1, and 2-0. So one thing about this game here, The last game of the season, our opponents made it very, very nice for us because they played the exact formation that Roma played. Now, we went 2-0 up early, as you can see, and just stayed in front. And I think the only reason we won the game was because we got those 2 goals early. Because later on in the game, they really started to carve us open. Like, it took me a while to adjust properly to something that I felt happy with. And as you can see, look at my goalkeeper's rating, 8.00. Like, they created a lot of XG in this. How much did they end up on? Right, okay, so I made a few adjustments, right? And once I made my last adjustment, they were on 1.75 XG with about 40 minutes to go. So they created nothing after I made this last adjustment. Now, if I do it early in the match, there's a good chance that the team might adjust against it. But anyway, all we've got to go on is the fact that when I changed it in this, it worked. So we're going to start off with what I changed to, because everything else before that was a disgrace, basically. We were just getting carved open like it was an under-12s versus an under-18s. It was absolutely horrendous defending, but we've got a concept to apply to it. They're going to play, Roma, we know that they're going to play the same exact system. I'm just going to double check this. I'm absolutely sure. Yeah, 5-2-2-1. It says there. So 5-2-2-1. Out of possession is going to be exactly the same. This is our sort of 2 default systems against each other. You've got their 3-4-2-1 and our 4-3-3 out of possession shape. But I mean, obviously it changes, but let's just keep it like that for now. This formation I actually find relatively easy in FM to match up against and compete with. What I find difficult is being able to do that and press them high. It becomes a pick your poison kind of situation against it quite often. What I ended up doing was, because the issue is this, right? They've got 4 players in the centre. So if you want to go and engage high, you can't really afford to leave any of them free, because once the ball gets, let's say the 10 goes to engage the 2 here. Let's say that's the scenario. If each leaves the 4, and he goes and presses him, it might open up a lane for this to go through. It might be that if he starts to mark the 4 too much, it might go straight into here. You could then, in theory, make these to be really aggressive, but the problem with that is if they go aggressive and the ball gets played in, it can be quite an easy situation where they go straight through you. There's so many different problems that this can occur against you. So my preference, in FM in particular, if you're going to try and press high, I don't think you can afford to leave somebody spare in the middle in this exact system. There's a few different ways you can go about it, right? You could go, all right, we'll go 2 pivots, we'll drop the 10 in on one of them, then we could have, like, one of the wide players goes in, and he goes up there, so you end up in a shape a bit like that. So it's like a 4-3-2, almost out of possession. The one concern with this in FM is that if the wing-backs are like genuine wing-backs, there'll be times where they'll get caught in the press, the wing-back goes around, it might be that the situation is like the ball gets switched across, and the 3 might be like here, it goes into the 8, and then the 2 is so high, we then get shredded through this gap here, because normally in that kind of system in FM, there's a third centre-back that can go out and engage and delay, and do all the out-of-possession concepts that we would need to deal with that scenario. We don't have that if we go with that. So whenever I've gone with this, it's been a disaster for that reason. So they have to be fullbacks. The issue in their fullbacks is that they can sometimes, when the team's playing out, be a bit far off the wing back. But that is the pick your poison part, is that if we're going to have an issue here, of all the issues, I've not even gone through all of them, because I really am assuming you've watched all the videos so far, and we've played against this before, and you've seen them. Of all the problems you can get, for me, that is the least worst option of it all, is that sometimes he's going to be a bit late to get out. Great, that's fine, because if he does that, but I've got a DM sat there with their 10 and a centre-back there, we should always have 4 against 3. And it doesn't mean they can't score from that scenario at all. Of course, they could still cook, because he could pull away early, and stuff can happen. But I think that allows us to control that scenario the most. It allows us to get pressure on. It means that if they're both fullbacks, the number 3 isn't going to be too high, so you can come across and cover quite early. I just think that gives us the most balance. So it's going to be like a 4-2-2, but I'm going to use fullbacks. And then what's really important for when you're pressing is, do you use AMs or CMs in FM for these 2 players here? So that's the only big concept that I had. So during that last Premier League match, I tried having them up, got shredded, put them back, had these 2 as 10s, but then what would happen sometimes is, while they're playing out as actual 10s, they would sometimes go across to try and engage the wing-back instead of the full-back. So I actually ended up having, genuinely, 2 DMs, 2 central field players, a proper 4-2-2 with 2 centre forwards and just offsetting it to whichever side I want to offset it. So that's what we're going to do in this game. We're going to go 4-2-2. Hopefully it goes as well as it did in the last match, but it's a different team, different things. Depending on what side we're going to go, we'll look at the two wing-backs they select at the start of the match, and we'll see which one is the least attacking threat and who we think is on the least attacking role, and we'll go and plan to shove it that side and try and lock them in that side, and then hopefully we can regain the ball from that scenario. The other thing you can do is you can have one of them as wing-backs, right? One of the two full-backs. And what you'll find is they realise there's space there, so they start trying to hit it quite often, like especially when the ball's high. And that goes one of two ways. Either they try and force it too much and you keep winning it and you can dominate, but then occasionally they get straight through. So that is what we'll do if we go behind. We'll bait them into going to one side, and sometimes they'll get through, sometimes they won't, but that's the risk-reward of the situation. So we've got plan A, we've got a plan B. Let's get into it, and let's see how that looks in the tactics screen. By the way, I forgot to mention, it probably is in the title, but I didn't mention it in the video. All of this that you've seen today, all the matches I played off camera, have all been on the Match Engine update that's gone in relatively recently. So that is on the update. If you do want to see the change list and what has actually been changed, I'll put the change list from the forums in the description or something so you can go and see exactly what they are if you're interested and haven't looked already. I can't go through them here because this is supposed to be a personal channel, but I'll put the link anyway from the official source where you can see everything that's been announced. So hopefully that will interest some of you, but also I'm sure most of you would have seen that already. Right, change to the tactic. All I'm going to do here is we're going to go 2 DMs here. We're going to go 2 DMs. That is, by the way, that's the other change I made off camera, was instead of a wide DM, I had a genuine normal DM. But apart from that, I said exactly the same. Right. So we're going to go 4-2-2. We need to have 2 pivots, and it's going to be those two. It has to be those two. So just looking at their team here. So this is their right wing back, who I assume is going to be quite attacking. Okay, it's hard to tell early on which one of those two wing backs is going to be the more defensive one. So in that case, it doesn't really matter which side we force it. It's going to have to be that, really, I think, if we're going to do it this way round. And then we'll go with 2 centre forwards. That's fine. We'll make sure that he's got this on and this on. Go and make sure he engages every opportunity on that back 3. Do we want a pressing CM? I think we do. Yeah, we want 2 pressing CMs. That's fine. So that's pretty much all we're going to do for the adjustments. Is it's going to be that. Okay, so taking a look at the visualizer, it's really important for me that when the ball goes to the wing back, if it does, which it probably will, I don't want one of these to go and engage that player, because one, it's going to open up somebody in here, which we don't want. And I definitely don't want them to start really wide and accommodate them. So what you might see sometimes is, because of the mismatch in the formation, they might think as the ball's starting to get played, in fact, I better go and make sure it doesn't get to the wing back. And we obviously don't want that. So I want them as narrow as possible. So we're going to go force outside. So we're going to force them outside. It can go there. Then we're going to set the trap after that. So that should make it as clear as possible that it can go to the wing back. Absolutely fine. Nobody has to be on him initially. But then it's going to be hopefully this player to go and engage. And I only want these two to step and engage it if they can make the angle where it screens it into the player they've just left. Right, here we go then. Leeds United in a European final. We'll say to the lads, go out there and prove to everyone that you are winners. We'll say that and we'll go straight past the media. Don't care about them. Go to the dugouts. So that's going to be their team. That's quite a good team, isn't it, for this kind of system they're going to play. And but that team's even better. So early on, what I'm seeing here is when the ball is played out and it's open play, my right back is trying to mark their AMCL, which is, I mean, that should leave Osterhaig free, essentially. If that's going to happen, then I want him as a pressing DM, because then he can go and help in these areas, right? If Galano goes up there to press the wing back, then he can take Galano's man. So we'll try that, actually. We'll make a little adjustment there. Because it looks like their left central midfield player, or left AMC, is going wider than the one on the right. First highlight of the game for Leeds United. 10 minutes in. It's going to be a short corner. Goes to Osterhaig. He gives it away. They're going to counter us here, are they? No, they've got nobody up. But Salz has played a really risky header straight in the centre of the pitch. It could have gone to anybody. Could definitely got hit on the counter there. Palomrique goes on the outside. Goes on the outside still. He's whipped across and low cross goes in. Liam Delap probably should have scored. Stays 0-0. The highlight apparently continues for a second corner highlight in a row. So Galano plays it back to Manzambi. He's going to be another one. Goes in Osterhaig. It's cleared away again. Salz is going to get to it again. What's he going to do this time? Just have a shot, Salz. Why not? Go on. Have a shot. Now you better cross it now. Better cross it now. He's still, I don't know what he's doing. Oh, is it the bar? Oh, I don't believe it. Oh, that was so close. We're looking dangerous early on when we've actually had the ball, because obviously they had like 90% possession for eight minutes of the game. Okay, we're starting to get more of a control into the game as well. We're controlling possession slightly more. We're controlling the counter-attacks and stuff a bit more as well. Yeah, so they're the right-hand side. They didn't want to go onto the wing-back, I don't think, there. Let's just take a look again. Let's go to this camera. So there's nobody out here for Roma, but we've got Osterhaig essentially worrying about him, which is fine, but, you know, can't you worry about him, you know, about 10 yards in, about here, and then he could go if he wanted to? Well, this is a 2v1 anyway. I don't like this, because surely he's going to be open now, right? Okay, yeah, that ain't happening, is it? We're not having that. I'm going to move Henrique up so that he can go earlier onto the wing-back. We can go with that. We'll try that. Right, this was nearly perfect. I love this. Let's watch this again. Well, me again. It's going to be the first time. So let's go to... We'll go to the aerial cam because I think that's easier to see. So what we've got here is, once it's played, Osterhaig now takes the 10 for them, which is exactly what you're supposed to do, right? We've got a 2v1 here. That's great. Then Henrique is now close enough here to affect this. That's much better. And Galeno sort of because he's not a pressing central midfielder anymore. He's sort of set off a little bit. He sort of baits it in. But now, like, this becomes more risky. He probably could still get out of this quite easily if he wanted to, but it becomes more of a risk. So by the time he turns to play it, he's now in real trouble, so he forced it back. And I only saw up to this point. I don't know what happens next. And they're going to get out that side. So that nearly worked really well. My concern there is I didn't know Sal's on a bloody yellow card. That isn't good. My issue there is actually Galeno might need to be slightly more aggressive. I'll just put trigger press more often first on him, and if not, I've put him as a pressing central midfield player, but we'll try that. Yeah, it's just happened again, by the way. Forced them back. They nearly turned it over twice while they tried to play out. They're really struggling with that. You know, sometimes it's not about just going man for man and stopping them playing out completely. It's baiting them into a trap. Sometimes it is trying to go man for man and forcing it long. Like, either those two things are fine. I'm going to have to take off Salazar at half-time because having a left-back in this scenario with no direct cover on their side on a yellow card equals... That's just going to be him getting himself sent off, isn't it? We both know that. Don't get him... Oh, that's even worse. Henrique being on a yellow is even worse. Yeah, I'm going to have to take Salazar off at half-time. There was a situation there where he's 1v1 and he sort of delayed his tackle because he's on a yellow. And they got through. We need to take him off. Leif Davis is going to come on at half-time. I'm tempted to even do it maybe now because I don't want them to score from like a weak 1v1. They turn into a strong one because... Oh, no. Oh, I thought that was it. Why have we got so many yellows, lads? I know we're getting stuck in, but like this is a bit... I think we can all see what's coming here. It's just a case of which one's going to get sent off in that back line or pivot position. I'll try and leave Henrique on a bit longer because he's such an effective player. I think Salzer and Leif Davis, there's a little bit of... They're a little bit closer together in ability. They're just slightly different. They have slightly different strengths, whereas like Henrique is clearly the best right back in the team. This could be a highlight, you know. It's going to be a highlight right for half time. And it's going to go to Osterhaig. He's going to go on to his right foot, plays it back. Kosunu, Kluivert. Is there going to be a chance here? Is this the end of the half highlight? What are we going to get? Kosunu, Delap, Osterhaig. Gets it through. Manzami's got to score. And he does it. It's 1-0 to Leeds United. But is it going to be, though? Because it was very close to being offside. What does VAR say? And it just says, what a goal by Leeds United. Let's watch this again on the replay. I wasn't sure if this was going to be a highlight. This is some great combination play. And Delap plays a brilliant ball through to Manzami, who goes through 1v1, slots it in to the... I was going to say the corner. It definitely isn't the corner, but we'll take it. 1-0. Right. Absolutely essential here, lads, that we go straight to the subs and take off. Salazar and Leif Davis can go on to replace him. Apart from that, don't get complacent. Carry on, lads. You're doing all right there, really. They broke through. They've got basically... Yeah, you can see 0.38 isn't a lot of XG, but in 3 shots, it was pretty substantial. They had 2 pretty good chances and then one that was a nothing chance. But they both came from fullbacks not wanting to go and engage properly because they're on a yellow. Which, we've got one of them off the pitch, and I don't really want to take Henrique off. That is a really nice spread of players. We've got the 2 strikers on the back 3. They're going to slide across now. We've got 2 pivots covered. 2 number 10s are pretty much covered here. And, yeah, look at this. Where are you going to go with that? Like, the only option they've got is to go in here. See, this is where, like, Henrique, like, he doesn't need to be engage in that player. Like, you can just stay on number 3, mate. You can just stay there. You don't need to go and get involved in that press. Like, they shouldn't have got out of this, really. And eventually they made the mistake. That was pretty good from us. I don't really like what Enrique was doing. Do we go ease off tackles with him? He's on a yellow as well, so maybe we can do that. And just see if we can not let him engage that player quite as much. I'm going to have to do it. Guy, you can come off. We're going to put on Kinate on the right-hand side. And that'll do for now. But basically, 10 minutes has gone by. Nothing's happened. It's been like loads of possession inside the pitch. But nothing's really happened at all. This is the first thing that's happened. It's going to be a corner for Leeds. Headed towards goal, and Liam Delap heads it just wide of the goal. That was a good chance for us, really. I mean, Osterhage could do with coming off, really. He's not playing brilliant. If I did that, though, I'd probably move Manzambi back and then move Haraldson, up in the pitch. But we'll see. I just want to see here. We're watching this scenario here together. Let's slow it down. Keep it in 2D, but we'll slow it right down. And they go across. They get out to the right-hand side. They go through and they switch it. So I just want to go back. Let's just see. How did they actually switch this across? So they get across there. Like, if their pivot player, 17, is there, you've got to gamble on that. You have to. Like, because if it needs to come across, we've got players here. Just a bit late, isn't it? If we were losing, I'd probably at this stage try moving one of these two to being an AMC, but because it's 1-0, I don't really want to change it. Okay, I'm going to make that change that I said. Haraldson on for Osterhage. Manzambi moves. Haraldson on for Osterhage, and then Manzambi is the one that moves back. We'll start the time wasting now. Quite early, but we'll get time wasting and play set pieces on as to instructions. They get another bloody chance there as well. Okay, I'm going to go to this. Defensive mentality. So the idea is that we still force it to this side here. But once we do, we shove these two across, and then Delap can effectively drop in on the outside of those two. And we'll definitely take that off and put that onto that. But apart from that, everything else can stay the same. Here we go, Leeds. Big 15 minutes here. There's a highlight. And it's going to be for Roma to start off with the ball. They're playing into the middle. They're going to go to our left, are they? That's so we should have loads of players on if they force it now to the right. Now we should be able to lock them in here. Who is this? That is not Enrique. What is Enrique doing? No. Luckily for him, we've got Manzambi covering. But, I mean, we should deal with this, really. Yeah, we should have dealt with that. I did not like the look of that. Like, I know you're pressing fullback, but yeah, let's take that off. 3 minutes left. 2 minutes left. Added time. There is a highlight. We've given the ball away inside their area. They're going to counter us. Are we going to get back? Just nail him. Take the red. Take the red. Take a red. Whoever it is, take a red. Are we going to be able to do it? They're going to get a chance. They've got an overload. Where's my players running back? Lads, it's a cup final. There's 2 minutes to go. What are you doing? They're going to go through, and they've bloody scored. That is a disgraceful effort getting back for some of our team. 1-1. I have absolutely no clue how he's offside, but we're going to go back and take a look at this because I wasn't even questioning it. I don't know about you, but I wasn't even questioning this. Right, let's go tactical cam. Let's get right in line with this. I'm trying to get it on the exact moment. Right, that's the moment there that he's played it. So that's the exact moment he's played it in 2D. He might just be off. It doesn't look like it though in 3D. But I think he is actually then just off. That's so close. But I tell you what we did learn from that. We need to put some more defensive players in our tactics. So Guiu and Kinate, not impressed whatsoever with what I just saw. So I'm going to make you both be bloody... Tell you what, everybody be a tracker. All of you just come... actually, no, we'll have one outlet to help us spring the old counters, but... Yeah, we don't need two on the back line anymore, do we? Let's do that. Last minute, surely Leeds United have won the Europa League. They win a European trophy, and that puts the club into the Champions League next season. That is a brilliant, brilliant season from the team to finish in the top four. Well, we qualified for the Champions League anyway, didn't we, actually? But that definitely confirms it. Yeah, 1-0 win, Leeds United in the Europa League final. And it was great to win a trophy in the series. Like, I felt like that this team deserved to do something quite special, like they've done quite a good job. Although it may not have been quite obvious. Like, if I just posted my results somewhere, it doesn't look maybe that impressive. But because of the concept of the save, the way the players were playing, the way they were carrying out the philosophy and everything else that we were doing, it was just a really, really good, experience. It was a really, really good performance for the team. But when you're at Leeds in that situation, you could really easily have 2 good seasons playing as Leeds and not win a trophy because you get, I don't know, City away in the FA Cup and the League Cup, you lose over 2 legs to somebody. Like, it could just happen quite easily, right? If things just don't quite go in your favour. But that was brilliant. To finish 4th and win the Europa League is a brilliant second season and a brilliant end to the series. I'll go through some brief stats. We'll look at the team stats definitely in particular because it's going to be showing how we played. So 11th in possession. I think the reason for that is to get the aggressive runs from our midfield players playing on attacking mentality and to make sure that we're pressing as intensely as possible. That meant that we had slightly less possession than I would ideally have liked, but if I continue with this team over multiple seasons, we could maybe reduce the mentality a bit and found out slightly different ways to get the same outcomes. Because if you look at the passes completed, we're quite low on the teams ahead of us. So that's one thing that was a bit of a trade-off, I guess. Yellow cards, most yellow cards in the league. We love that. 0 red cards. Bit disappointed with that, really. Would love to have seen some tactical fouls, especially in that cup final. But we got there in the end. Goals per game puts us 3rd on 1.92. Extra performance, we didn't really overachieve. So I think that if we'd have got some more clinical players, and if we overachieved by roughly 4th, if we had have overachieved our position in the league 4th, like that really could have swung a lot of games in our favour. So we weren't great at that. That shows just how many chances we created, but we just weren't clinical enough to match the chances. As you can see there, non-penalty expected goals. We were 2nd with 70. That's really high level incisive football from us across the season. We also had only 2 penalties, joint worst in the league. So there's lots of little things that could have gone in our favour more that would have put us even higher. Goals from corners, we scored 6, but how many did we bloody concede? It was quite a few, wasn't it? In fact, let's have a look at that. Conceded from corners, that's the first thing I want to look at here. Well, penalties conceded, 4, not great. Conceded from corners, only 3. Was it only 3? It felt like it was more than that. What about indirect free kicks? Only 1? I don't know about that. It feels like it was way more than that to me, but maybe it is just like a hangover from last season, feeling like we conceded a lot this year. I think we conceded a lot at the start of this year, or we must have conceded most of those at the start, and maybe in other competitions then, because I didn't feel like we improved that much on set pieces. So defensively, OPPDA, where's that? There it is. So we were the 4th best for that. Okay, if we're going to give up so much possession, I'd like us to have been even higher than that. But we're relatively close, though, to be fair. But I would like us to have been slightly higher on that, but that's fine. Again, I'm talking like perfection, really. Like finishing 4th and winning a cup. Like, it's nice to have something to improve on each year, so it stretches out the save a bit, so you don't just get all that success at once. Finances, transfer net spend, we were 20th because we just sold so many players for so much money. And team salary, we were 14th, so we did it with the 14th highest team salary in the division, and we spent the least amount of money in net spend because we sold a load of players. In fact, how much did we actually spend this year? Yes, we spent a grand total of minus 50 million this season. We spent 322 and brought in 372. A total spend of minus 50 million, which got us 4th place and winning the Europa League. That's a really, really good season in all aspects of Football Manager, isn't it? The tactics, the success, the style of football, the recruitment, everything was brilliant from our perspective. The only thing that would have made this even better is if we won the Premier League. So, yeah, I can't complain. Doing this kind of save where I was trying to take something specific from real life into the game, I cannot complain about that whatsoever. If it was myself playing and I was playing just to win, I would like to have tried to win the Premier League in the first 2 seasons, if not definitely the 3rd. But like I said, this kind of save, it went really, really well. I was really happy with a lot of the stuff that we managed to do. Our top goal scorers, Guiu on 18. Our most assists was Konate on 17, with 3 of them really were quite close together. Expected assists per 90, the most was Konate. Konate had a really good season by the looks of it. Chances created per 90 goes to Kluivert with 1.1. Key tackles per 90 went to Kosunu. And sprints per 90 went to Calvin Phillips, apparently, followed by Manzambi. So there you are. yeah, just a massive, massive thank you from me to everybody that's followed the series this year. I ended up having to, spread out the episodes a little bit way more than I anticipated and planned, because I got very ill over Christmas, over such a long period of time. I couldn't quite believe it. So there was that. Having a full-time job and working in an academy in addition to doing this, obviously quite time-consuming, and they're quite important roles. I'm in charge of some young footballers' futures. It's really important that I get my job done properly and to the highest level of my ability. It is really important that I do that. For them, really. Yeah, my priority is always going to have to go to them and to my role at Sports Interactive, of course, which obviously I've been working on doing my role and with the match engine updates and all that stuff. So, yeah, thank you, though. But I wanted to say thank you to all of you that have been part of it, because I know a lot of you understand that. My intention is I want my videos to be consistent, because when I find somebody on YouTube that I like, whatever the topic is, I think that once you find somebody you like, whatever it is, you tend to always go back to that person, because they're reliable in terms of the kind of person they are and the kind of way they do their videos. You know what you're going to get, and then as long as it's consistent, like, I don't know, for me, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Like, if I found somebody I liked, so I'm going to definitely end this series here, because the next few weeks are going to be slightly more difficult. Then after that, it's going to free up again for me my time. So what I think is the best thing to do is I'll end this series here. We'll end this one. We'll come back in a few weeks' time, and we'll start a brand new series, and we'll do something like a Moneyball save, but there'll be a tactical aspect to it too. So what I'm thinking is Moneyball save with a Pep Guardiola recreation from his Barcelona days. Maybe we can transition that halfway through the save to a Mourinho one. Maybe it could be a journey save where we go to different clubs. I'm not entirely sure exactly how we're going to do it, and I am more than open to recommendations or thoughts on how. And I know some of you have put them on in the series as we've gone through, and I've read all of those and taken note of them. But yeah, definitely there's always going to be a tactical element, because that's always really fun, and that's what this feature is such a good. That feature I just love so much. I'm definitely going to have a tactical aspect to it, and there's going to be recreations, and I'll try and get clips from real life so we can do some comparison stuff. But there will be some Moneyball element to it too. I'm just going to think about exactly how I'm going to go about doing that. But thank you to all of you that have been part of this series and that regularly watch the videos and interact and that like and subscribe and all that stuff. I really do appreciate it. It really helps the channel as well every time you do something like that. So I really do appreciate all of you. We'll be back really soon. We'll be back soon with a brand new series, going in depth with the tactics, getting our Moneyball stuff out as well, looking at the player stats and avoiding using attributes where we can. But that is going to do it. Thank you so much for watching the series, and I'll see you all next time.